Yes, sure. You're welcome, but your co-host. There you go.
And I am welcome, and I am grateful, and I am so happy to be here. Hi, my name is Jill Greenbaum, and I am coming to you from New York. And I heard from Allison some of the places around the world that people are zooming in from. If you haven't yet put where your feet touch the ground, please share that in the chat. It's always wonderful for me to review that later and get a sense of the breadth of the scope of what we're doing here today. And so we have a packed agenda, as Allison was saying. And so we are going to move with dispatch, so to speak. And so there was a packet that went out to you, or meaning it was in the spreadsheet, and you were able to download it there just to get a sense of what we'll be doing together, how I'm coming to this. I wanted you to have an overview of our agenda, and I know that Allison will be dropping that in the chat every so often for people that might arrive just a minute or two later. But in looking at it, it's really just all about this session, pardon me, our plan for being together and the materials to have at your side. And don't worry if you don't have them all, you're going to make do with what you have, and that's going to be great, right? We're really flexible here. It's all good. I will share a bit about my background in just a moment, but I thought it might be lovely for us to briefly ground ourselves wherever you are in your day, wherever you're coming from. We will be here together. I'm going to read you a brief poem, and then we will dive into our work together. This is called Wherever You Are by Maya Stein. Wherever you are, be there. Take up space. Occupy the full dimension. Unfold the map of your body. Celebrate its topographical wonder, its unpredictable weather. Make a pool of your movements. Then swim through the ripples, parting the room with your footsteps. Make no apology for the squeak of your soles, how your jacket swishes at your thighs, that the dust is making you sneeze. Consider it all kind of an orchestra. You tuning the keys, you lifting the horn of your whole self to the air. Let the notes of you blast out at a register and speed that won't leave you hungry or empty. Let anyone hear as they walk by with their shoulders up, pretending not to listen. Wherever you are, remember why you are here, to sing. And so as we begin our time together, I'm hoping you enjoyed that as much as I did. Let's just take a cleansing breath or two, and then I will share some slides with you to give you the big picture overview of what we are doing together and some of the details. Alrighty then. And so, and just let me just do one quick thing, get us in the right place, because of course that's where we want to be, in the right place. Hold on one sec. There we go. As you gather your goodies and you look at them, here we are. And so for a moment, let's take a peek. We were here together to plan for our deaths and to see our lives with new eyes. In fact, from birth to death is not a straight line or a trajectory. It's actually a bit of a messy affair, and that's a beautiful thing. It's got highs and lows. It's exciting. It's different. It's challenging. It's hard. It's so many different things. In the little drawing down in the right-hand corner, it just is a reminder that we plan for so many things in our lives, from birth through schooling, celebrations, partnerships, vacations, work, but rarely do we plan for end of life. So this is that opportunity to make the time to do that, to begin to make the time in the time that we have together. And so here's our agenda. We will begin by preparing for the journey. We will draw some end of life iconography. So I have a method for teaching you quickly and easily to draw, or somewhat easily, right? So no judgment here. We left our inner critic at the door. I'm pointing to the door as I say that. And so we'll do a bit of drawing, and you may choose to share that later on the Padlet that I've put together, and you may not, completely your choice. You'll be thinking about what kind of format might I want to use to share my story. Is it a simple zine? Is it a one-page visual? Whatever you want, it's all up to you. In addition, we will review some prompts. You may have your own ideas about how you want to approach this story. In fact, I have a few ideas for you also, which you are welcome to use, to change, to reject, whatever it is that you like. This is your experience. Using the prompts, you will then draw your story, and then we'll come back together and we will harvest or share some of our thoughts and feelings about the experience. And that is our plan for the day, for our time together. In addition, I'd like to share just a little bit of background about me so you know how I'm coming to you. And let's see, there we go. So I updated this last night. This is just big picture overview of where I'm coming from. I'd say for the most part, I am a chaplain in the Zen Buddhist tradition. I am also at this point a hospice volunteer and death doula. I have presented at a number of different conferences. I run different kinds of workshops. This is a taste, and this was my addition last night, a little more of a taste of the kinds of things that I do. And just after doing this, I'll be working to complete a death literacy project, which was part of a grant from Compassion and Choices here in the United States. And so lots to learn, but this isn't about me. This is about you. It just gives you a sense of how I'm coming to this. So let's look at what we're doing. And we're going to come back to those prompts a little later on. So I'm going to stop the share now and chat with you for a bit. And let's see. And that would be making sure that I can stop the share. There we go. Perfect. All right, we're back here and we are about to start more of our time together. And that means preparing for our journey together. And so what that looks like is imagining yourself in your one day, someday, dying in death. The process we're engaging in here will support you in planning your end-of-life experience and bring greater ease to the remainder of your days. We'll use prompts to begin the process. The experience is of your design. Please engage with the prompts and the questions in ways that inspire, stimulate, surprise, and maybe challenge you. You might choose to begin to work with one of the prompts. You might choose to look at all of them and pick and choose. You may do it all today. It's hard to know. It's completely your choice. The key here is to take good care of yourself. Remain aware of your feelings. Work with the materials in the way that nourish you. So as we think about it, how are you coming to this session? Where are you in your process of end-of-life planning? Are you new to considering it? Have you made some plans or many plans? Are the plans you've made in need of perhaps some adjustment? Because life changes, at least here in the United States, laws change rather frequently. So there are new opportunities and new things to know. Have you had a conversation with your inner circle, the people that comprise your inner circle? And as you make changes in your plans, does that spark new conversations? So I'm wondering if you're willing to drop in the chat, and I will take a peek at it a little later on, where you are in your process, if you're comfortable sharing that, because it's wonderful to know the breadth and the depth of the work that you're doing. So I'm going to take a quick peek at the chat as some of you are writing in. What a great question, Allison. What a question to ponder. Terrific, Emma. Excellent. Well, thank you for those that have started to write into the chat. This process that we're about to go into will probably help you flesh out some of your ideas, perhaps stimulate thinking in new and different ways. And so I'm going to leave the chat for the time being and come back to you and talk in terms of learning to draw, to develop some of our iconography together. And I know there are folks that are in this audience that already do some drawing. I have some colleagues here from other programs I've been in, so it's a delight to see you. Thank you for being here. For all of us, though, drawing is exciting. It's interesting. It can feel a little challenging. Oh, look at that. What a rascal this paper is. All right, I have some drawings behind me, some end-of-life iconography that I created a number of years ago when I began this process. And I am going to spotlight myself at this point just so you can see a little better. I happen to be in an office right now. And so these are just some ideas. Oops, you're missing me. these are just some ideas of things that you might consider drawing as you're planning your end of life work. And we're just going to look at them for a moment. It may give you some ideas, and of course they'll be up, but I am going to do some drawing with you, and so they'll be covered for a little bit too. But you might think of, how do you want to express your values? Is that going to be part of what you write about? Or maybe that's the foundation for what you're doing. Have you thought in terms of having an advocate or a death doula with you? And how might you represent her or him? I sort of thought the cape was kind of fun. How do you want to be in your final weeks and days? Surrounded by people or more alone? Where do you want a ceremony to be? Right? So this might be an advocate, this might be a death doula. Do you want to be surrounded by music, by flowers, by people singing, perhaps the Threshold Choir? You'd like to have them come and visit for a bit. So there are all kinds of possibilities, ways that you can consider planning and then drawing your plans. So I am a huge fan of zines, making small little booklets. And so I'm just going to show you an example of a zine that I created when I was working in a hospital during COVID, because I found that people didn't know, and this may happen to you in your profession also, people didn't really know what being a chaplain was, but plenty of people don't really know outside our circles, right, what a death doula is, right? Or other types of advocacy that exist in this world, or what the possibilities are for burials. And so I believe in making little booklets. This one's kind of big so you can see it well, but it's a multi-page booklet that has visuals that I created about the process of what a chaplain does. And so I'm going to suggest that you consider, do you want to make one visual on one piece of paper? Do you want to, I'm always using my hands and I end up looking like I'm always raising my hand. Do you want to consider using something like file cards, where you could use a different file card for each of the prompts, because that's really easy. I'm a huge fan of file cards. Well, right, how many times have I said I'm a huge fan? Because I just love a bunch of different things. In addition, I started folding a piece of paper, because you can take a simple piece of paper and make a zine. I did, if you were able to receive the packet early and you were interested in zine, I gave you a link to Austin Kleon's site where he talks about making a zine. But we could make one together really quickly so that you're ready to draw once we do that in about a minute. This is a piece of printer paper, which I'm just folding in half vertically. It does make for a small space to draw, I'll tell you that. And then I'm just folding it in half horizontally. And I'd probably do this with 11 by 18 because I kind of draw big. And then lastly, I'm going to fold it in half once again. And I've got this adorable little book that was super simple and didn't need any scissors. And so for me, there are 8 prompts that I have offered you. There are 8 panels in this zine. So the cover is the first panel. And then you open it up. Panel 1, panel 2, and you know this, panel 3, panel 4. Well, okay, I'm doing this backwards, so I should probably do it forwards. There's 1, there's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I took myself out, but I put myself in with the important stuff. So are you feeling clear about that? Would you like another go of it? Or you're like, we got this. Yeah, Allison's going, come on, Joe, we know how to fold paper and we know how to do this. Okay, it goes to show you that doing it backwards can be complicated, right? Thinking backwards. So you have a plan at this point. You're going to use either a big piece, you're going to fold something into something that makes 8 panels if you like, and you're going to do some drawing. So I'm about to put up some paper and we're going to do some drawing, and I'm going to teach you. I'm so glad you appreciate revisiting how to make a zine. Thank you. I always love a little encouragement. All right, now lots of people think, gosh, I really can't draw. I'm a stick figure gal, or I'm a stick figure guy, and that's really okay, right? Because it's about communication. This isn't art that we're doing. So please don't feel the pressure around, oh my gosh, Georgia O'Keeffe, I've got to do it that way. Don't worry. So what I'm going to do is teach you that first, actually, I'm going to remind you that you make marks every day. And you're going to use those marks to draw. And I was caught by what Erla dropped in the chat. Yes, stick people are people too. You're absolutely right. Thank you very much. So I'm going to show you that just by using simple letters, letters you make every day, you can make a light bulb. And we're going to start there because who doesn't like starting with a good idea? So here we go. So there are the letters that we make every day, UZMO. And here's a light bulb. I'm not going to do it in this order. And this is also me giving you permission to change up whatever I'm saying to you and make it work for you. So I teach this. I'm a consultant for a German company that teaches a particular drawing technique. And I generally demonstrate it this way, but that's not my easiest and fastest, best way of doing it. So I start with the O. And I make a circle. Really old-fashioned, really round light bulb. And then I pop a U. And you should do this too while I'm doing this, because you know these. Then I put a Z in there, as if we're screwing it into the socket. And then lastly, the filament. And you have a light bulb. Brilliant, right? And that was no pun intended, because I am not that gal. Excellent. All right, so we can start to look at things and deconstruct them. I'm going to give you a quick and easier way to make a figure. And that's by using the letters, mostly O and U. All right, and so the body is going to be a giant upside down U. And the head is going to be an O that's like an oval, like an egg on top. And in the method I teach, we don't make a neck. So we don't sit the head right on top of the torso. So there's our head, there's our torso. We might add some adorable little feet. And there are our arms. And I know most of you are probably not standing at this point, but if you were, you would recognize that your arms go down to probably the middle of your thighs. And that's, oh, there we go. Thanks, Leaf, for getting up there and checking it out. So by all means, you should recognize that if you make arms too short, you look kind of like a cute little penguin, or maybe on the way to being an angel. I'm not really sure, but you want to be sure that you're making your arms long enough so they look realistic. So now you can start to think of, how do I make, like if I want to show myself as perhaps a death doula, or it could be a chaplain, maybe I'm going to do the same kind of thing, because this can take a little practice, sort of getting it right. And maybe we're adding some hair, right? So she's got a crazy do, right? And she's thoughtful. That's one of my favorite poses, like a hand up at the mouth, right? So you can start to think about, who do you want to represent? And our brains are so smart that we recognize that this is a figure, even though it's so simple. So with that in mind, I know that I would like to feel peaceful towards the end of my days, right? Because we can have a wish and we can have a plan. And so here I'm going to make a torso, upside down U. So just U's that kind of go out to the side, crossed legs. Here's my head. And there are my hands. So I'm hoping you're beginning to get the feel of, oh, wow, I can actually do this, right? You might think that, oh, I want to be in my home. Gosh, it must be a damp day here. Holy crow, I'm like fighting with my paper. Can't have that. I want to be in my home. And so that's something that we're often, used to drawing, right? So it may be something simple like, right? So the path to your home, or perhaps the bed that you're laying in. And maybe you're surrounded by friends or family. Or maybe that's the threshold choir that has come to visit you. Right? So you can start to make simple shapes. Well, I'm glad it's looking easy, Janet. I hope it's being easy for you also, because you can begin to recognize that you have these skills you just didn't know. They were hiding, they were hidden from you. So I'm wondering, and I will take a look at the chat, if there are any questions that you want to ask about something that I've drawn, because I don't want to rush past those in my effort to keep us moving forward. Oh, I've made something that looks like a. Go ahead.
No questions so far. If this is an opportunity, if anybody has one, like sketch notes. I like sketch
Absolutely.
notes, right?
So very much like sketch notes. Sketch notes tend to be kind of text heavy, but how perfect to have some text along with what you're creating that tells the story of what you want. So when I made my first zine in creating this, I put the prompt down at the bottom of each of the pages because I used, the 8 prompts. I put one on each page, except for the cover, actually. I just came with my cover was my wishes and plans for my end of life and my signature. But on the inside, 2 through 8, I had each of the prompts. So good thinking. Thanks, Shofra. All right. Well, it's feeling like perhaps you're doing okay with this. So I'm going to roll with that expectation, and you're going to let me know otherwise. If you have a question or a concern, by all means, let me know. All right. So you have your zine, or being a clipboard fan, your paper, or maybe you're going to get really clever because you're like, oh, I'm going to do it on these, and then I'll use some washi tape and put them together, or I'll slip them on a ring. There are so many different ways that you can do this. All right. So I'm going to share the prompts with you and then ask you a question or two about them and then send you into some drawing time. All right. And so let's do that now. Let's share these prompts. And here we are. And so, as I said, my title was My Wishes and Plans. You might think of something clever, very personal. You may also include some drawings on the front cover. And the next prompt is, I want to be. Where would you like to be in your final weeks, days, and hours? We won't know for sure, and yet we can have some plans. What about the space? I'd like the space to be. That's really just the prompt. So what would you like in your space? Flowers, candles. Oh, I could have drawn some of those. I can do that, but I'm betting you can do that. And if not, I'm happy to provide some examples. But music, singing, books, essential oils, chairs so people can sit comfortably. The next question, and this is one that might take some time. You might have some answers right off the bat and then need to do some other thinking. But I'd enjoy being with. Who do you want to be with you? Who will bring you comfort? I was just reading the other day Jennifer O'Brien's work and how she talks about precious time, meaning the last hours of people's lives, and how that is a time to think as a family member, if you're with someone that is dying, one of your family members, it's a time to think of, let's be close together now. This is the time that we have, and make it special and for us. So thinking, who would you enjoy being with over time? The 5th prompt, I imagine, what do you imagine would bring you comfort, peace, and ease? Is it being read to? Is it having a foot massage? Is it experiencing Reiki? There are so many possibilities. What will bring you comfort, peace, and ease? If people gather, what would you like for them? A colleague of mine talked in terms of having chocolate and cake and wine and delicious drinks. Honestly, I think of my favorite recipes that I would make for people, and I would want them to have that, to create that kind of environment. So, what would you like the gathering to be? Would you have out things that matter to you? Would you like people to tell stories? And maybe when they're together with you, or maybe when they're together talking outside of where you are, just near you. How do you wish for your body to be disposed of? Would you like to be buried in a traditional way, perhaps cremated, have natural organic reduction? Or there are, of course, other possibilities. What's your plan? What does that look like for you? And what is the final ceremony or ritual? And once again, this might also be, I'm focusing here on end of life and a more traditional way of doing it, but you could create a zine around your desire for your life celebration, right? So this can be taken in so many different ways. And then lastly, what thoughts or feelings would you like to share with your family and friends? And how would you like to do that? So this might dip into a bit of legacy work, right? Will you have letters for people in a basket with their names on them? Do you have a few thoughts that you want to share, or is there maybe just one thought that I want you to know that I loved you? So I am sure that this is just the beginning of what you'll be thinking about. You may even have some ideas for prompts that you want to share with other people. Of course, you are welcome to drop them in the chat. You might also want to take a screenshot of this just so you have them in front of you, because I'm also going to ask you a question or two about these prompts. Which prompt is inviting to you? Do you want to think in terms of what you're creating as a journey, an adventure, a path, or some travels? Are you thinking of your lineage, the world that you live in? What's the context for what you are creating? So this is going back out to 30,000 feet almost, you might say. And have you thought about responding to the prompts or going in a different direction where you organize your ideas by what's important to you in terms of a timeline, the highlights of your life, or some of the learning that you want to share with other people? And so I offer up those ideas just as a way to begin to think about your creation. So let's come out of this for just a moment and come back together, which has been easier said than done in some instances. And are we back? We're not back yet. Right? There we go. We gotcha. And so it looks like heads are down and you're already drawing. Fantastic. And I'm going to take myself out of the spotlight. I can always put myself back if you want to see any of the drawings on the wall, or if you'd like me to draw something. We could do something impromptu if you had a thought. I'm happy to do that. I'd also love to look at some of the questions that you're having. Or you could just say, Jill, we just need some quiet time.
Could you put the prompts back up? I don't think everybody got a screenshot quickly.
Absolutely, for sure.
Thanks.
My pleasure. She says, there we go. All right, so we have those. And we're back. And I'm going to peek in the chat. Leaf is talking about, please do draw some. Absolutely. Happy to do so. When I think of green burial, I start to think of trees or a forest or a path, right? That might be a metaphor. So it may be Right. Whew, got a little narrow there. I just carried away with all the wide open space. And so, Michelle, the second page I had shown was really asking about what resonated for you with the prompts. And did you want to use a metaphor for approaching the writing of the zine? Are you creating a path or a journey? Are you envisioning your world? And so that was really just an extension of how do you want to approach this whole thing? I tend to be a big picture thinker, so I like to go first, like, oh, what are all the things I want? There are plenty of folks that prefer a more linear approach, like, okay, what are the steps? And that's when I get it. So I was trying to provide both. So I hope that's a helpful remark, Michelle. You can always let me know. Can you draw a bird or a robin type, please? Oh my goodness. Okay, now, Shifra, we're getting there. I don't know. Let's see if I can. So I'm starting to think about because this is me thinking out loud to be helpful to you also. I'm thinking of what shape is a robin or what shape is a bird. And I am no aficionado with birds, I'll tell you that. So that is definitely a bird. Of course, we could. I'm going to end up making it look like a chicken if I put legs that are too long. But you also might be doing a wing that's out that way.
I'm just going to jump in for a second. If you don't know, viewers, you can actually drag the the gallery view. You can move the gallery view anywhere because mine was right over the bird. So you don't it's not static. You can move it around if it's in the way of what Jill's doing. Carry on.
Thank you, Allison. That was so helpful. Thank you so much. Absolutely. And so I will tell you one thing that I talk about all the time is sometimes someone will say to me, please draw a hedgehog. Please don't do that now. Okay. Because it's something I love, but I don't draw very often. And I think, oh gosh, I don't know how to draw that. So I go into my browser on my phone and I type in line drawing hedgehog. And that's what comes up. And it's very easy to do because it's just the line. It's not a full color illustration. And so you too can do these things. Don't let the pigeon drive the bus. Yes, Janet. Excellent. All right, let's see. There's also, if we were talking about people coming together, and so you know that you two can spotlight me most likely if you want to see me bigger. I love to see all of you, so I have gallery view right now. So these might be people that are reaching out to each other. All right. And yes, there are only 2 out of 4 possible arms, and you can put those other arms in there. But we're so smart, we know that they exist, and we don't need to. So that would be another thought. I also love when I think about values, and that was on the chart underneath where we are right now. And if it's helpful to show you that, I can do that too. But putting a heart inside the person. Right. To think of my values. Excellent. All right. There are just so many goodies to think about. If your house of worship or your community center is important to you, you might do that simply also. You might draw yourself in a casket or in a shroud at a gravesite. You might draw people singing around you, as I had said, the threshold choir. Many possibilities. And so I love to have people talk with each other and have it be multiple types of communication in a session. And so I am wondering, it will be will of the group, not Jill's will, if you would like to pair up with people. And randomly, Allison's going, Jill's pulling an audible here. What is she doing? But I just love that opportunity. Allison.
I mean, I'm up for it, definitely. Although, yeah, if you're happy to manage it.
I am happy to manage it. And
Does
so I'm,
anybody else want to talk? Because you would randomly pair us in
yes,
breakout rooms
I
together.
would randomly pair you for sure.
Yeah.
Do I have
Or
magical drawing for silence, Martina? I wonder, um, it's almost metaphorical. It makes me think of the sky with clouds or empty thought bubbles. Gosh, that's you have me thinking. I'm going to have to think about that. So I'm wondering. All right, so some folks are not able to pair up, and so I don't want to put anyone. You might be feeling like you're eating or you're doing this, so you're not wanting to do that. I totally get that. That's why. Right? It would have been quite the audible, right, for an experience like this. But what I'd like to do is hear from some folks. You're welcome to come off of mute, to ask a question, to make a comment, to begin to share what you've got, because we can spotlight you. And if you want to say, gosh, I've done this and I'm so excited about it, or I'm feeling kind of stuck, because this is our time to learn and to be together. And certainly we'll do a harvest of the entire experience, but we have some time.
yeah.
Hmm. Great, Leaf. I'm so glad. Yeah, I also put the sun sometimes inside a
Mm.
person's body. Erla,
Perla
go
has
for it. Fantastic.
Okay. I've started a zine and I'm going to call it My Wishes and Plans so my family and friends don't need to guess. And on the back, I'm going to start with your resources. And I always think it's a good idea on a zine to write when you did it and how. So I'm going to do made during Jill's plan for your death, da da da. So I've just started it now. I've put the prompts on top. But what I'm doing is I've got it on my paper here.
Great.
Um, yeah, I don't know how to unfilter my thing. I don't know why it's doing that. Um, Anyway, Jill, I loved this is going to be like little reminders about my life, like
Mm,
where I grew up, volunteered, going to college, family. And then I've gone in wishes and plans. I'm going to have a folder. I'm going to tell somebody where it is, and I'm going to make this a living document.
mm,
So I drew a little heart on a piece of paper and put it in my calendar. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I want to be at home. So I drew a home on
beautiful.
my hospice and trees and near the ocean if possible. For my space, I've decided that I'm going to tell three people. One's going to be kind of watching my energy level. One's going to help me distract if I need to, like pass me my knitting. And the other one's going to sit with me and pass me a box of Kleenex or have it so I can grab it. And then, so I'm just now at the enjoying part. So making sure I have music and yeah. So thank you. I love it. You always give us good things to work on, Jill. Thank you.
Thank you, Erla. How wonderful.
I have what one of the things I love about a process like this is you get ideas. Like it's you think you're going in with what are my ideas and you end up in I get ideas. And I just when I was looking at I imagine such and such would bring me comfort. It's always a head massage for me.
Mm,
So thanks to your little drawings, I did here's me in the bed and here's somebody behind the bed giving me a head massage. And I made it clear by a pro, like this has got to be a pro, like not any old buddy. But then I was like, but if they know in advance, somebody in the family could learn. I'd pay to, teach the family to massage my head as
what a
I go.
gift. What a gift to you and to them.
Then they can do it for others. It's the best. I mean, I only get it when I go to the hairdresser. I don't know about you, but that is the thing. So I thank you. I love that. I'm glad I had that idea.
Fantastic. Thank you, Allison.
Love the drawing. So good.
It's awesome. You're, of course, happily, folks are writing in the chat. You are welcome to write more there. You are welcome to stay behind your name or the photo of you and just talk and ask a question or share a thought. It's so wonderful to hear how people are taking just these kernels of ideas and running with them and making them personal. I see heads down. Are there any questions that come up for you as you're doing this? Whether it's about the drawing or about your process. How to draw happy and uplifted. Oof, I love that one. And I have to tell you, that would certainly not be one that most people would say, hey, let's do that. But if we're thinking maybe you're planning a life celebration, that would be completely appropriate. And so there are certainly a couple ways to do it. So if the person's, look at this, it's a very full page. So that might be one way, with arms up in the air. All right. And just so you have a sense of it, because you might be saying, oh gosh, if I want to make the people walk, or I want to do something else and have knees or something like that, you might be thinking in terms of proportion. So I'm just going to pop this in there. And if it feels like, ugh, this is getting too complicated, then ignore it. Okay. But if we were going to talk about, this is about a half, this is about 1 unit, and this is about 1 unit. So your torso is 1 unit. Your head is about half the size of your torso, and your legs are the same size as your torso. So clearly not a model's figure, right? Or what we're generally thinking of, but this keeps it simple. You might also do something like, so there's the torso. And this person has a very big head, so I'm going to put a baseball cap on them. I'm hoping that gets its celebration. Oh man, Jilly, I so love that you said that. Jilly said this is a great idea to go as a group activity with your friends, maybe over a glass of wine. I'm with you there. To get them all thinking about their plans and easy to approach without anyone feeling scared about their death. So true. What a great place to begin. Lots of markers, a glass of wine, coffee, whatever beverage it is. I'm hoping you have one at your side right now. Perhaps not the wine. I don't know. That's your choice. I'm not going to go there. It depends on what time of day it is, but maybe not. Anyway, I digress. The reality is getting people together, giving them markers, giving them paper, having some prompts, letting them know they can take it any way they want, that this is not about creating art. This is about communication and sharing. And I will say the fact that you get to look at your paper as opposed to at other people sometimes when you're talking about this can also make it easier. So what a great idea. I had thought of that and then I got drawing and let that piece go. But thank you for dropping that in the chat, which is a good reminder to save the chat before the end of the session. Okay. I too will save it. But that's important. And Imogen has put hers. Oh man, I love the colors. Look at that. So fantastic. In the chat is where I'm looking. Well, Becky, if you know, it's go big or go home. So either do it really great or do it really badly, right? That's what we're saying. But the reality is, I'm betting that if you just put natural burial underneath the drawing that you had done, which is what I do in my work as a visual practitioner, I'll draw icons and I'll add some text just to be sure that what I've created is clear. Oh, yeah, Erla, I love that. I worked with a funeral director once and he was creating drawings also. And the title of his was Put the Fun Back in Funeral. Absolutely. Excellent. Yeah. So there's lots of great information, ideas to gather from the chat for sure. And so my thought would be take the next 2 to 3 minutes to finish up the drawing that you're working on right now. So you have a sense of completion, because my guess is that you may be going to another session right after this. You do have that 15-minute break, but that is a good time to refresh, get up, stretch, do that kind of thing. But finish up where you're at so you feel a sense of closure. Write down any ideas you don't want to forget that may get lost as you head through a doorway or a threshold to something new and different, whether that is real or imagined. Because what I'd like to also do is just come together. And also shortly, Allison will be dropping a link to a Padlet. So I created an online collaborative space where you can post your drawings. I find it easy to do from either a computer or my phone. I I particularly like it on my phone because that way I take a picture and it goes straight into the Padlet. But you can get to Padlet on your computer, which you might be now your desktop or your iPad, and then do what it takes to get that picture onto Padlet. And if you have any difficulty with that, you can always send me your picture and I will be happy to put it on Padlet. Thank you, Becky, for offering up your fine work.
There was a space in it, so I'm doing it again. There,
Thank you.
there. That's the one. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fabulous. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Lisa. Excellent. So my email also is jill@jillgreenbaum.com. So that's something to know if you would like me to help you out in some way. I am going to say as you're finishing up your drawing, because in 1 minute we'll come together as a large group and share thoughts and comments about it, is that one of the offers to everyone, or one of the bonuses for being here at Lift the Lid, is that I will be running 2 sessions creating impermanent earth art. So these are some examples of my work, a little tiny postcard. But the reality is I've created a time zone, a session in the Western Hemisphere time zone and another in the Eastern Hemisphere time zone. They're happening on December 5th and 6th. So pick the one that fits your schedules. I have offered a discount to the work that I often do because we're here, we're a community, and I want to support you and give you other opportunities to see yourself differently and to see these processes differently.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Alex, I do hope that you finish it and that you'll post it on the Padlet because yes, an hour is barely enough time to get us started, get us thinking, create the zine, start the drawing. And yeah, some people are quick to do it and that's their style, and other people take more time. I'm sort of in the middle to the slower way. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Oh, Janet, so much fun. We could talk. All right, in the time that we have remaining, I'd love to, once again, even though I may have a fight with it, share some thoughts with you in terms of harvesting this experience. And so, questions to think about. As you think about this experience, what did it feel like to you? What were your feelings as you were doing this? What were some of your thoughts? Was it enjoyable, surprising, challenging, maybe a combination of these different things and many more? What did you find to be the richest or deepest part for you? What are you taking away from this experience, from your own creation, and also listening to others' ideas? You may think of summarizing the experience in a couple of sentences or a couple of words. You might drop them in the chat. In a moment, you might also come off of mute. And of course, because I want to finish up with the slides so I can come back and see all of you together, I hope you will share your work, ask me questions, consider ways to collaborate with me, and absolutely stay in touch. So that is my hope. What I'd like to do now is hear from you about your experience, thoughts, feelings, ideas.
Janet just put up, I think it's an easy approach to a tough topic. You made me feel like, hold on, you made me feel more light and not so heavy. And I'm reading that one out because that I felt that too. Like it is challenging.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, we're here. We're here every year, and in between we think about death and we try to help, but it's still challenging. And that what I find year on year with the festival is I've changed in between.
Yeah.
So you do have to check in. I think it was Erla said she was going to put on when she did it because maybe there'll be another one, or have you not done one in 5 years? Do you want to do it again? That kind of thing. Leaf's saying she felt a lot of joy, a lot of surprise. I think that's a gift that you gave, that some of the stuff was surprising and there's joy in that. I got an idea that I didn't know I was going to have. But these little people are funny and they're cute, but they do represent us.
Yeah,
Stick people are people too, like you said. And so that's good. Let's take that away. But yes, so
absolutely.
somebody said the richest thing they're taking away is you.
Mm.
You're amazing. How did somebody wants to attach a picture to the, how do you do that? Screenshot? You can take a screenshot. Can you see that in the message bottom of the message? Would take a screen. No, but that's not a screenshot. You don't want to do that. How do you, can you somebody help them? How do they? Yes, go ahead, Jill.
Sure. So in the message box area where it says message everyone, there's a file icon. So
Oh, yeah.
if you have taken a picture and it's on your computer, perhaps you've transferred it to there or to your iPad, then you can, whatever the image is labeled or whatever the number is, find it on your device and attach it as a file. I
Yeah.
think stick people are people too should absolutely be one of lifting the lids mottos. Just adorable.
Mhm.
But drawing is a way in to ourselves and all of ourselves if we let it be and we let go of expectations around what it needs to look like.
Mhm. I like how Erla is saying how she might include her grandkids and
Mm,
ask them, did I forget anything? What do you
mm,
think you'd like to include and do after I die? And kids will draw that. They will. Another thing it has me thinking, and I tell me if you or anybody else involved in this has done this. I have in-laws who won't talk about it,
mm.
and it's a minefield. And uh, I wonder if we made a zine of here's what we think you want.
Hmm.
That you just they like, and it's cute and it's funny, and it's not like we're having this serious conversation right now. And then they're like, "Oh, what do you think? What are you talking about? That's crazy. Why did you think that? Here's what I value."
Absolutely. And so one of the things I'm actually part of a group, and that's and underneath this, the drawings came from work that started in Violi, visualizing end of life issues. I'm one of half a dozen women across North America that get together on a monthly basis to talk about how to get more of visualizing into
Mhm.
everybody's world. And so
Yeah.
we've developed a process actually. And so part of my practice is to work with people. So picking up on your idea, Allison, of I have a curated set of interviewing questions that I ask people and then I draw what they're
Yeah.
saying and they have it as an artifact to use in conversation with their family members. So for me, picking up on what you're saying and making it more, let's do this ourselves, maybe we'll get in touch with Jill, but let's figure out how to do this ourselves. My answer would be talking about being here and being at this conference, right? So setting up the conversation, with good expectations as to how it's going to come out. I created this super cool thing and then show it. And it made me wonder about you. I have some ideas. I have some thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Maybe we can draw these things together. Maybe we have this over a potluck dinner or a glass of wine or appetizers or something and get everybody involved in doing it. Because it could be even including, as Erla was talking about, little ones, talking about what are you looking forward to, right? You can take this in a million different directions. What are you looking forward to at the end of your life? Maybe with our parents and our peers. With little ones, what are you looking forward to later this week, this month, the holiday season, the new year? I mean, this is so malleable.
Right. Yeah.
See, and clearly it must be almost the end of the session.
It's
Let me take
talking
this
to you.
off, but I'll take it off just to let you know. And I
I'm
can
looking Go
get
ahead. Jess May has just put up she wants a hot water bottle and two cats. That's what I'm getting from this. When I die, I want a hot water bottle and two kitties. Is that have I interpreted that correctly, Jess?
Yeah, you
beautiful.
did. I did draw a picture of my partner as well, but he looks very peculiar.
Oh, so he's not there.
And
That's all
we're not making two representations. So that way, we don't have to get caught up in that. And you can say, look, love, look what I've created. This is you.
right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, so we're gonna have to soon put dump people out, but as you know, we couldn't do this without you. We couldn't do this without the amazing organizers. It's not just people like me moderating and Joe and Victoria who do absolutely everything else, but the speakers are unpaid. So it's entirely volunteer. It's entirely led by the heart. We do need money, however. So I'm gonna again, just in case you haven't been here all day, put our GoFundMe page in the chat. And if you don't feel like funding without merch, get the merch. This is a lovely t-shirt I got. There are even better ones this year if you want imagery. They've done really, really fun things with imagery. But if anybody wants to hurry up and get something in the chat, because soon Jill will save the chat for herself. You want to make sure. I've benefited a lot from meeting you, Jill. I'm so glad to have seen you this year and to know what you're doing. And uh, and to know that right now you have to go and do, what are you doing? Death literacy.
Yes, the last session of a death literacy course where we really create our advanced directives together.
Wow. How many sessions do you do?
This is 4 sessions. It's called the Death Literacy Project, and it's a partnership between Francesca Arnoldi, a well-known death doula in the US, and I'm sure elsewhere, and Compassion and Choices, an organization
Oh,
also in the US.
I love them. Yeah, really love them. I have just put one more time the document that Jill put together for us, that you can download from the chat so that you have that for further resources and what we were doing. Um, Jess says, so fun, Jill. Thank you. And don't forget that when the time comes, I'm doing your living funeral. Everybody, you are witnesses.
100%.
Wonderful connections being made. So grateful, Jill. Can we give you a round of applause?
A
Thank
round
you
of
for
applause to
standing.
you for stepping up, for joining in, for trying something new. Thank you so much. It was such a delight to be here.
Time flew.
It
All
did.
right. Thanks.
Take
We
good
will start.
care.
Um, everybody, you can take yourselves out if you want, but the rest we will start taking you out. Moving you to the waiting room for the next one.